It's the Super Bowl in Las Vegas.
One game, 60 minutes, all you got. I fucking love y'all boys, man. I love y'all with all my heart. Let's go beat that boy ass.
I will be back here with a vengeance.
I told them, the job's not done. Our job now is to prepare ourselves to play a good football team in the Super Bowl and try to get that ring.
Obviously, we have one more. Job's not finished.
Joseph.
What's up, man?
Not much, man. How you doing?
You know I'm always doing great.
Awesome, man. Let's get this started off with some music. Welcome to XXIV Sports, episode 24, the season finale. Yeah. Love it. Yes. And what better way to end the season than when talking about the Super Bowl? Are you excited this weekend, Joe? Listen, granted, I know it'd be so much more better if it was the Lions versus the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. But unfortunately, Joey, it's not. It's my Niners against the Chiefs. Really excited, man. What do you think about the Super Bowl?
Yeah, listen, if it's a great game, I'm all in for it. Coming a little fatigued seeing the Chiefs in it every year. But
yeah.
As long as it's a good game, as long as it's half the game it was in the 2019-2020 Super Bowl, I'll enjoy it.
It's funny you say that, like being fatigued of seeing the Kansas City Chiefs. Something just came in my head that you just said that. Well, did you have that same feeling with the Patriots when they were always in it?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah?
Yeah, like it was, it was like I said about the Chiefs pick earlier this year. It's just, you could pick the Chiefs, and at this point, you have at least a 75% chance of being right. It's a very safe pick. It's the logical pick. But it's just, I think in general, people like to see different trends. I respect what Tom did and what Bill did, and I respect what Patrick and Andy are doing. But it's kind of like you don't typically eat the same meal every day. You like a little bit of variety.
Unless it's Taco Bell.
Don't compare Taco Bell to the Chiefs. Taco Bell's on another level. We don't speak ill of Taco Bell. But yeah, listen, hopefully when it's all said and done, I can feel a similar way I feel about the Patriots. Where you kind of, in hindsight, you can sit back and reflect and realize, like, you probably saw something you won't really see for a very long time. And so you can grow kind of a fonder respect for it. Because it is impressive. They wouldn't be going back again and again if they weren't putting the work in. So
yeah, and I think that was my thinking though, because I get what you're saying. Like, oh my God, Mahomes again. Oh my God, Brady again. But if you think about it, if Brady and the Patriots didn't have that stretch and that run, then would we right now be talking about who's the greatest quarterback of all time? Obviously people pick Tom Brady, or who's the greatest coach of all time? People bring up Belichick, or who's the best teams that ever played in the Super Bowl, and blah blah blah. I guess in the present, it's just like, oh my God, the Chiefs again. Oh my God, back then the Patriots again. But looking forward to it now, it's just like, oh, like remember all the great. Remember the as we talked about quite a few times this season about the comeback the Patriots did against Atlanta in the Super Bowl. It's just like, we have those stories and we have those memories, and let's be real, like seeing greatness. You know what? So here go another question. Do you think we appreciate greatness when it's happening right in front of our eyes? Because in the time, like you said, you know what, I'm tired of it. But in reality, we kind of watching greatness right now.
Yeah. So I don't think we appreciate it in the same way because
Okay.
we don't. You can't know how great it is until you have something to compare it. It's like you don't know when something's good if you don't have something bad to compare it to. Kind of like in
That's
that
true.
way.
Yeah.
So I mean, when Tom went to his first Super Bowl, and I'm glad you made the point about how great the games were, because that's one thing I will give the Pats is every Super Bowl they were in, it was a great Super Bowl.
Mm.
I mean, the helmet catch, the
Mm.
first Super Bowl he's in where they beat the greatest show on turf with that last second field goal, the interception, the 28-3.
Yeah, come back.
Like for whatever reason, I mean, the only one that was like is when they beat the Rams. But I mean, if you like the defensive football, that was a great game.
Yeah.
They were never blowouts, so they do put on entertaining shows, so that's good.
Mm-hmm.
But going back to the greatness point, you just don't know. Like, I find it hard to believe that when Tom won that first Super Bowl, anybody was coming out there and being like, "Oh my God, Patriots about to turn into a dynasty."
Mm-hmm.
You didn't know, and then it kept happening and happening and happening. You're like, "Oh, maybe this guy really is the real deal." And then he goes to Tampa and he does it with them, and that kind of solidified the idea of this guy fundamentally changes teams.
Mm.
So I think we respect it, but when we get to sit back and understand what they did, you grow a deeper and different kind of respect for it.
Yeah.
The best comparison I think is, so one of my favorite 30 for 30s is Four Falls in Buffalo, and it talks about the Buffalo Bills when they went to 4 straight Super Bowls,
Mm-hmm.
and they lost them all. But at the end of the documentary, it talks about how eventually, when they got, almost a decade removed from losing all the Super Bowls, people, especially professional athletes and sports writers, they started looking at it differently and started understanding of like, we may never see somebody do that again. You go to 4 straight Super Bowls.
Mm-hmm.
And they started naming all these quarterbacks and all these players who never even got to go to 1 Super Bowl.
Mm.
And eventually that led to the majority of that team, especially the offenses. At that time, they had one of the most prolific offenses, Jim Kelly. And I can't think of the running back's name. And they had a great defense too. Eventually, a lot of those guys started getting inducted into Hall of Fame because the conversation changed. They lost, but I mean, they went to 4 straight Super Bowls. That's no easy feat.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, good point. Good point. And just speaking about Super Bowls, let's get right into it. I mean, this weekend, as we mentioned, we got the Kansas City Chiefs versus the San Francisco 49ers. They made it through media week, literally a day. Almost a little over 24 hours remaining to before we kick off and get Super Bowl 50. Is it 58 or 59? I think it's 58. Super Bowl 58 going. So let's talk about each team. And so let's start with what does this mean? So if the Kansas City Chiefs wins, what does it mean for the Kansas City Chiefs, whether it be Mahomes or Andy Reid or the team? What do you think a victory for the Chiefs means?
Victory for the Chiefs means that they are officially a dynasty.
Mm.
And that we need to start talking about them in the same way that we talk about the Steel Curtain Pittsburgh Steelers, the 90s Cowboys, the Bills, and the 2000s, so late 2010 Pats. And we need to start talking about how this team, it just kind of changed the way the NFL is played to a certain extent. Because now you start seeing teams looking at more athletic quarterbacks, with bigger arms. They're not just looking at game managers and people that cannot turn over the ball. They're looking for, I want to find that quarterback that can be that difference maker. And even when it feels like the play is failing, they can make something out of nothing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do agree with you. I even think that Patrick Mahomes become bigger than what he already is. Andy Reid is, a bigger coach. Travis Kelce, one of the greatest tight ends, maybe the greatest tight end. I think it definitely, and honestly, I mean, Kansas City as an organization did a great job, but when all said and done with a victory, out of everybody, Mahomes, to me, is at the top. And, because this probably will be a different, I mean, we probably wouldn't even be having this conversation of, like you said, they're legitimately a dynasty now if they got that victory over the Bucks in the Super Bowl and Tom Brady, but, they didn't. And so now we're having this conversation now. What did it in the Super Bowl? What 4 to 5 last seasons or something like that? Like just something ridiculous. Like
I mean, they've been to the AFC Championship game 6 straight years.
Yeah, 6 straight years, and in the Super Bowl, like
and
like I said, like 4 times or
resulted in
something
the
like
Super
that.
Bowl.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. What they're doing over there and what Mahomes is just doing. And again, if we looked at this season, I mean, think about it. Down the stretch, I mean, nobody was picking them to come in, after what the drop passes, the penalties, they did not look like the Kansas City Chiefs of old. But Mahomes brought it together, and led the team with his dad bod, and just it's just been unstoppable now. I mean, especially after the way that they handled the Ravens. How could they not be scary? I'm as we all know how big of a 49ers fan I am. It's Mahomes. Like, why wouldn't you want to pick Mahomes? He's spectacular. And so I think it just elevates. Can I and what I also say also, and then we can move on to the next one. But what I also say is that the contract Mahomes has, that was like one of the biggest contracts in NFL history and sports history, or whatever it was, but every penny is earned. Like, those one of those contracts where I'm like, we see these contracts, we like, bruh, like how the heck they getting all this money to play like this, or do, like, again, Deshaun Watson, even Lamar Jackson. I mean, yeah, he played great, but I mean, he's not winning them championships, and I think eventually he will. But every ounce of that, every dollar, or however they break it down, when he gets paid like $80,000 per minute or something, like whatever it is, every penny is worth it for that dude. That is one contract where I'm like, give this dude whatever he wants and let him go ahead and do whatever he needs. This kid is just like, he's on another level, and I just hope I've learned, because I'm glad I asked that question earlier, because I want to because I hear I'm getting tired of seeing the Kansas City Chiefs. I understand it, but witnessing greatness, and if they do win, and if they keep, if he keeps, because he's with them for the next 10 years or whatever. But if he keeps doing this, I mean, we're going to see something that another thing that we'll be lucky to see right now. So, and we're getting into the now. If the Kansas City Chiefs lose, what does it mean for the Kansas City Chiefs, you think?
If they lose, it just means they're a really great team, but not a dynasty.
Does that matter to you? Like, does the word dynasty hold weight that much?
To me, it does, because it means that you won on a consistent basis. So on a smaller scale, this is, I think, one of the better comparisons I can think of. On a smaller scale, it's interesting because it's the same coach. So in the early 2000s, the Eagles went to 4 straight NFC Championship games. and didn't win until the fourth one, and then lost to Tom Brady in the Super Bowl. So that's cool that they went to 4 NFC Championship games, but I mean, who cares since they didn't win it? Like,
Right.
again, it's impressive that this is their 4th Super Bowl in 5 years. But if you go 2-2, I don't know. I mean, cool, but the goal is to win. Like, the greatest teams, and to be able to call yourself like true champions is you got to win it all. You know, that's why you look at teams like, you know, another sport, the Golden State Warriors. You know, they went to all those NBA finals and won 4, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they went to 6. And then the last part of it is, it seems to be in sports, 3 is kind of the magic number, where you got to win at least 3 within this kind of finite time frame to be considered a dynasty. So that's the other thing about it.
Yeah, I just think that I think you're spot on. Like, it just means that they're still a great team. I really don't think a loss hurts them at all. To be where they're at right now, like I mentioned a few minutes ago about, how no one expected them to be back, the way they was playing at the end of the season, to play as well as they did in the wild card and the division round and in the championship. The Mahomes and that team they're on another level right now. And so that a loss just means, hey, they just had a bad game right there. And they just got outplayed by the Niners. No big deal. I don't see anything wrong there. And the only reason I think we do consider, because I asked that dynasty question, because I think we do consider a dynasty being 3 or whatever it is, to your point. But, for me, a dynasty is a team that just dominates over, a certain, because like you said, 6 straight championship games. I mean, granted, they haven't been to the Super Bowl in each one, but to consecutive be there every year, the way that they did, I still, that stretch, and that's what I'm saying, because the one constant from all of this has been Mahomes and Kelsey and Reed. Those been the constant, and so they've done this, and they've been, I don't want to say unstoppable, because if they were unstoppable, they'd be in the championship.
They would win it every year.
Yeah. But they've just been, again, they've been constant. They've grown their game every year. They've been just, the leaders, and I think those 3 has, really shined the light in Kansas City. And so yeah, minus the, like you said, dynasty thing, the loss doesn't affect them one way or another. I just think I still hold them as, this what I say decade, besides the, I mean, the Pats was in the beginning of the decade before Tom left and stuff, but they, this 2020 to this decade that we're in now, I mean, I think they're in the beginning right now. They're owning it. So
100%, yeah. The last thing I want to mention, because you made an interesting point, it made me think about it, and to kind of connect it to what we mentioned earlier about how hindsight's 2020. Right now, if they lose tomorrow, I will agree with you. It's not the end of the world. It's like, hey, okay, especially if they lose a close game. If they get blown out, all right, I mean, not great. But again, it's their 4th Super Bowl in 5 years. But if they never make it back and they never win another one, now we would reflect on that. I mean, at least I would reflect on that Super Bowl differently. Now I'm not going to call them a dynasty. Even if they continue to go to AFC Championship games, they can't make it back to the Super Bowl, they can't win another one. Again, you're a great team, but I can't put you up there with Pats, with the early 2000 Patriots and the early 2010 Patriots, and teams like that, because you never won the third. You couldn't even win at least the third one. And what's interesting is I kind of had that feeling when they got blown out by the Buccaneers. I was like, well, okay. I mean, 'cause everybody thought, including myself, I was like, okay, Kansas City's team prime. They're going to be the next legitimate team. Three straight AFC Championship game, second Super Bowl in a row. And if he beats Tom, I was like, okay, watch out. And then they just get rocked in that Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, well, I guess that was fun when it lasted, but I thought that was going to kind of put a wrench in the Kansas City team. Now they go back to the AFC Championship game the following year, lose to the Bengals, but then make it back and win the following year. So they got back on track. So I was wrong about that. So that's good that they do have an ability to rebound from losses. But again, you got to win. So
Yeah.
I guess I don't think we'll truly be able to understand what this loss would mean until we're a few years down the line.
Mm-hmm. That's good, yeah. All right, so on to the 49ers. So let's talk about what a win would mean for the 49ers, Joey.
Yeah, so it would solidify a lot of players, but more importantly, it would solidify Kyle Shanahan as a top elite coach. Yeah, it would solidify Brock as, I would say, the second greatest quarterback draft story, because it is only one Super Bowl, and then you got Mr. Tom, who was drafted in the 6th round, which is still really low, and won 7, but still super cool story. Again, probably something we possibly won't ever see again. Mr. Irrelevant winning a Super Bowl. And then it will also prove that talent does matter. When you put a bunch of talented players on a team and give them the right schemes, super teams to a certain extent can actually make it in the NFL.
Yeah. So yeah, I agree with you on all those points. I do think that Kyle Shanahan definitely needs this. To your point of, because honestly, if things were different, and they're not, but I'm just saying hypothetically, if things was different as far as how far the 49ers could have got last year and the year before, as far as making it to the Super Bowl, we'll be talking about a dynasty right now with them too. But unfortunately, they haven't been able to get that monkey off their back, the old Steve Young thing. But they haven't been able to do that, but a win would, I wouldn't say, well, maybe it would start some traction, because again, I don't see them, and we'll have an upcoming episode of next season about free agency, but I don't see them like putting on the brakes just yet, with this Super Bowl right here, and especially after a victory. But yeah, and also Brock Purdy, I mean, it's just an unbelievable story. My biggest fear from this though is that if he does win, if Brock Purdy does lead them and pull this off, I don't want this to be a one and done story. I want this to be the second coming of Tom Brady, like you said. I don't want to be like, I don't want it to be one of those Nick Foles situation, right? When, you win and it's just like, all right, well, good job, Nick Foles. And that was the end of it. He's young. Hopefully he can keep this, keep getting better and stronger throughout the years, and just, put together this amazing story from being Mr. Irrelevant to multiple time Super Bowl champion, all that stuff like that. And it'd be cool also that, especially me being a fan of the 49ers, is that, hopefully, I'm not saying he is Mahomes. What I'm saying is that hopefully we find a Mahomes-like, as far as having somebody locked down for the foreseeable future without having to worry about, okay, what we going to do at quarterback next year, when we can concentrate on everything else, just like Kansas City is. They have Mahomes, they have Kelsey, we have a Purdy, we have Kittle. Like, we don't have to worry about those two. And with having, I would say, McCaffrey for a good couple of more years, I think we're in pretty good shape. And I think this victory will just keep that fire going. Also, that they just want more and more and more. And again, what I'm excited about, that, man, I hope we do pull this off, of course. But as being a fan, like, in that dynasty era of the Tom Brady, or even with the Chiefs now, like, being a fan of that after going through all the suffering and like the years of all the Eagles, you had Donovan McNabb, and then you finally pull it off. It's a great feeling of seeing this happen as a fan, and so yeah, I think there's definitely a lot more on the line for the 49ers if they do pull this off. But let's go about the opposite way, Joey. If the 49ers lose, what does this mean?
I mean, it means that Kyle Shanahan can't get done, right? He's going to be that coach, like a Marv Levy. I can't think of any other coaches off the top of my head, but just they get right there and can't finish it.
Yeah.
And then I don't know what their salary cap situation's like or anything like that, but I mean, I don't know who all they're going to be able to bring back next year, but that could affect that as well.
Mm-hmm. The only person that they have, I would say, is Chase Young. That that have to be re-signed. Really, as far as like a big time name, but everybody else is, and Ayuk too, Brandon Ayuk also.
Yeah, so, I mean, that's and then again, everybody's a year older than next year, so
yeah.
Sometimes you never know if you're ever gonna make it back again, so you gotta take that chance when you can. I mean, there's a lot of teams, you see it all the time. I mean, what was it, 2002 Buccaneers when they won with Brad Johnson. I mean, there was a lot of people that thought that team was going to go back again and again and again. Never made it back. Even after the Falcons lost that Super Bowl, a lot of people thought that they were a contender for years to come. Never made it back. So you just never know. So
yeah. And you brought up a great point earlier when you mentioned about that 30 for 30 with the Buffalo Bills. I think with the loss, this would be a 30 for 30 for the 49ers. It's just like one of those things like where, oh my God, here we go again. Like, look how, the weapons, the team, the leadership, the coaching, the running back, we have legit spots all over the field, like legit players in great spots all over the fields. Like, if this was Madden with the ratings and stuff like that, oh, the right tackle is 85. Oh, the tight end is 88. It's like we have those. Like, if this was Madden, we have like those 85s and 88s and 90s and stuff like that. But yeah, with the laws, again, to your point with Cal Shanahan, yeah, I think, great coach, but eventually he is going to have to get it done. And I think that's going to be a talking point all week. I think a talking point is going to be if Brock Purdy don't get it done, it's going to be, yeah, Mahomes this, Mahomes that. That's why Purdy isn't there. But I'm like, bro, my point is it's his second year. Like, calm down. To be in this point in his career, to be in the Super Bowl in his second year, is astonishing. Like, it's great. And so, but unfortunately with the loss, the pressure is all going to be on him. Everybody's going to be talking about that. And so, yeah, what I'm hoping is that the outcome of a loss doesn't affect his ability to continue to go out there and do the same thing next year, leading the team. Same with Kyle Shanahan. I hope that a loss doesn't, be like, have him thinking, hey, can I reach that that mountaintop to the Super Bowl, sort of. And so, yeah, it'll definitely be a tough loss, especially me being such a big fan. But the story will then just lean towards, again, the first couple of days, how great Mahomes is, how great Kelsey is, how great Andy Reid is, how great the Kansas City Chiefs are. And then eventually it get to, well, why did they lose? Well, because of Purdy. Why did they lose? Oh, because Kyle Shanahan can't get it done. So it's definitely, I think, going to be a lot of talk about the team more than so. If the Niners lose, I think it's going to be more talk about how the Niners lost and less talk about how great Kansas City was. And that's just an unfortunate reality we are right now. So yeah, that's our breakdown so far for the Super Bowl of what happens if one win or one loss, and now we shall move over to where the Super Bowl is being played at in Vegas, and we have a new segment: to gamble or not to gamble. As you can
Goes
see,
on
Joey
way longer than I thought it did.
Joey enjoys gambling, guys. I don't know if you caught that. All right, Joey. So let's gamble or not to gamble on the Super Bowl. Would you gamble that Brock Purdy will throw over one interception in the Super Bowl? No? Okay.
No. I think one would be his max. He's just not, aside from the Ravens game, he's not a turnover-prone quarterback. I think it'd be more likely that he fumbles than throws an interception, because I think those Chiefs are going to predicate a lot of their game on getting to Brock Purdy and sacking him. Now, with pressure, there sometimes can come, quarterbacks can make errant throws. I just don't see it. I think he would take the sack before he forces a terrible pass and gets an interception.
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't think so. I'm hoping he doesn't throw one, but I think he's gonna be a game manager, as people have been saying. But I think, yeah, he's gonna limit the turnovers. I don't think he's gonna allow the pressure to get to him. At least, so I'm just hoping, again, with these 2 weeks off, with the restart and refreshness of the body, he's more mentally prepared. But there has been a few times, and against the Lions and against Green Bay, he threw a pass, and I'm like, oh my word, and so I'm hoping that doesn't come to play in the Super Bowl, because we can't make those plays then. So back to Brock Purdy. Is he throwing, Joey? Are you a gambling man? Is he throwing over 250 yards? Oh, okay. Okay.
No, I think the game plan runs through McCaffrey.
Okay.
And I don't think he'll be even when he throws. I think it's gonna be a lot of like short midfield, a lot of slant routes.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see him like popping off this game in terms of just throwing.
Yeah. Yeah, and so I disagree with you. I think he is going to throw over 250. I think it's going to be a lot of yak. I think, and the only reason I'm not worried, but I think one of the game plans that Spag does great is that run defense. I think McCaffrey will have an okay game. I don't think he'll have like a he's definitely I don't think he's gonna be he might have a touchdown or two. I think it's gonna be more goal line. We're gonna use him a lot. So yeah, I think he's gonna throw over. I think again with Ayuk and Debo and Kittle, I think it's gonna be a lot of yards after catch. That's why I said yak. And so yeah, I'm taking it over, and I'm a gamble on that one, Joey.
Okay.
So on to Debo Samuel. Will he have over 85 all-purpose yards? Are you gambling on that? All right.
Yeah, I'll take it just because it's all-purpose. I think they're gonna get creative with him in the run game. If it was just receiving yards, I'd probably say no.
Yeah.
Just because the more you throw to him, the chance that shoulder can get banged up again. So
Yeah.
a lot of question marks with that. But all
Mhm.
purpose, yeah, I think he'll like break off like a 30 or 40-yard gain, and
Mhm.
that'll kind of give him a big chunk of that.
Yeah, I agree with you there too. I think if anybody, I think the dark one of the dark horses is Debo. I think again to what I just mentioned a few minutes ago about the rest of the 2 weeks off. I think that helped him out a lot. I think they're going to utilize Debo a lot. Doing to your point, doing all kinds of short passes, wraparounds, but I can't think of the name of the plays, but they're just gonna do a lot of okey dokes, a lot of shifts, and I think that's gonna involve Debo. And so yeah, I'm definitely taking the over on that one. I think he actually is gonna have a really big game against the Chiefs. So on to the Kansas City side, Isaiah Pacheco over 75 rushing yards. Joey, gambling or not? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, seeing how 2 weeks ago the Lions running back just like gashed the 49ers in the first half, I think Pacheco will do something similar at least a few times. And
Mm-hmm.
75 yards, I don't know. To me, that's not bad. I mean, you get a couple, 15-yard gains, you're already up 30 yards. Doesn't seem too crazy to me. So yeah, I would go for that one.
Yeah. Yeah, everything in me want to say, hey, after to your point, the Lions, even Aaron Jones against the Packers,
Yeah,
like
that's true.
we our running game this postseason has been it's just been hard to watch. And so with that, I am taking it over. And what I'm hoping is that they concentrated, but then maybe we can just hopefully put a stop on not stop but just slow down a little bit Mahomes and that Kelsey connection and concentrate more on that. But we'll see if they looked at the game plan, make some adjustments to get out there and just try to play some good 49ers football. We'll see. Are you a gambling man or not, Joey, on Mahomes throwing over 275 yards? Yeah.
I mean, it's Patrick. I mean,
I like how you said it, too. You was just like, oh, duh, Carlos. Like,
I mean, the
jeez.
guy just, yeah, he has that huge arm, so he's more than capable of having a play that's like a 60-yard pass. I mean, when you look at it, so conference championship, it was 17-10, and he still threw 241 yards, and that's a fairly low scoring game.
Yeah.
So yeah, no doubt. Yeah, I would take that in a heartbeat.
Yeah. I'm actually going for the under. I think again the game the you can let Pacheco beat you. You can let Kittle get open every once in a while, but we've studied tape for 2 weeks, and the one person you cannot let beat you is Mahomes. And I'm hoping that Steve Wilkes is smart enough to put together a game plan that revolves around stopping Mahomes. And so I'm banking that he does that. They are looking at all kinds of plays and this and that just to slow him down. And I think we will do that. I think that'll be a big victory if we can slow down Mahomes. I'm not saying victory to win, but I'm just saying victory overall. If we can slow down Mahomes, that'd be good. So back to Patrick. Are you a gambling man or not, Joey, on Mahomes throwing over 2 touchdowns?
Same thing. I mean, yeah, I think Pacheco's going to do well, but when they get into that red zone, I mean, it typically flows through Patrick.
You saying it like he's gonna have like 10 touchdowns.
Well,
Like that, bro.
also,
Calm down, all right?
my question said like over 2 touchdowns. So does he have to throw them or can he rush them?
Well, I was
'Cause
going
that-
towards throwing. I
Oh,
was going towards
okay.
throwing. Yeah.
I'll still, even if that's it, I'll still say yes. But
Mhm.
yeah, sorry, what I read was just over 2 touchdowns because I think he'll get a rushing one.
Okay. So you think he'll have like 3 or 4 touchdowns against us, huh? Okay.
I
see you,
just
Joey.
meant like it's Patrick. I don't.
Okay, guys. Let's see. Let's see. Glad we're recording this.
I'm not saying it will happen. I think it will happen. Like you asked me if I'm placing a bet. I'm not gonna bet against Patrick. Like
No, I agree with you.
remember,
I think
I went to college with him.
that's right. You was his
I was his hype man. Right there with the gate. Comes off the field with the towel. All right, like in a boxing match. Doing good, doing good.
So yeah, I agree. I was just pulling your chain, but yeah, as much as it's gonna kill me, I think it's just gonna be some. What's funny is that I know all eyes are gonna be on Kittle. I'm sorry, Kelsey.
Yeah.
But they have like I think 3 tight ends that are just like, and I know if I could just see the future right now and the game plan, I can see. I don't even know who the other 2 tight ends are, but I know I saw them in the Baltimore game, and he's gonna find somebody. You're gonna be like, who the heck is this dude? Like it reminds me of Dobbs on Green Bay. Like he can't. Why is this dude catching all these balls?
Yeah.
I could. This is gonna be one of those situations where they're gonna try to like find somebody else, beside the big name players, that's gonna score. So we'll see. But yeah, I'm taking the over on that one too. And then one more gamble. Who's gonna have? Are you taking Kittle? Are you taking Kelsey to have more touchdowns than Kittle? Okay.
Yeah, and it's less about Kittle and I'm sorry, it's less about Kelsey and more about Kittle, just in the sense of, again, there's so many other guys that Brock can throw to on the Niners.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Kansas City, Rashee Rice is doing really well this postseason. Like you said, so the other tight ends, you have Noah Gray and like Brandon Bell. On Kansas City, yeah, they'll probably try to work them in. At the end of the day, typically, Mahomes is going to go to his safety blanket, so Kelsey's just going to have more chance, I think, to score, which increases the likelihood that he'll score more touchdowns over Kittle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm gonna go with I'm gonna go with the. I'm not a gambling man on that one. I think Kittle. Yeah, I think Kittle will be again another weapon that he has to find in the red zone. Especially if they're gonna concentrate on McCaffrey, I think we need like a second option and I think Kittle is that option. So I'm gonna go with Kittle on this one if I had to be a gambling man. And I just think that they do have matching energies as far as when they get on that field, Kelsey and Kittle. But I think Kittle just has a little bit more fire in him, especially wanting to be back here after he lost to Kansas City a few years ago. And so yeah, I'm with Kittle on this one. I'm not being biased, but and I am wearing his jersey tomorrow for the game. I'm gonna bring all my jerseys, FYI. The reason I put the white one on is because we are wearing white. That's our jersey color tomorrow. So yeah. But that was an episode of Gamble and Not to Gamble. Pretty cool stuff right there, Joey. Even though I didn't like some of your bets, but who am I? So let's get into now, last but not least, our Super Bowl picks. Let's go with Super Bowl pick. Let's go with let's start with X Factor. for both teams. So if the 49ers win, why? Who's the X factor? Why? And if this 49ers win, what's the X factor and why? Let's go with the point and the team.
Okay, so I'll start with San Francisco.
Mm-hmm.
X factor, going to be their D line,
Okay.
because the one thing, and I mean, I guess this is true for every quarterback, because they always said this about Tom Brady. Like, the way to beat Tom Brady is to rush him and make him uncomfortable and sack him. But I mean, you'll beat any team if you sack their quarterback. I always thought that was kind of like a silly thing. But there is truth to it, especially with Patrick. One of the reasons the Buccaneers did win that Super Bowl is they would just put constant pressure on Patrick. He couldn't do anything. Couldn't get anything going. So San Francisco D-line would be the X factor if they're going to win this game. On the other side, pretty much the exact opposite. If Kansas City wins this game, it's because they give that, Bosa is going to get to Patrick at some point. It's just about, is it 1 to 2 times or is it 5 to 6 times? And that'll come down to the Kansas City offensive line. They got to give them time. So those would be both of my X factors.
Yeah. My X factors, if Kansas City wins, my X factor is Spag and that defense. If they did what they did to the Ravens to us, that's the key to victory right there. Like, there's no, at first it was going to be Pacheco because, obviously with our running game and how we've been playing these past few games. But as we saw against the Lions, even though Gibbs and Montgomery did that to us, we found a way to win, even though taking the points should have been the smart thing the Lions did, but we still came back and won that game. And so, but that's why, with that defense that Baltimore played, that Kansas City played against Baltimore, was such a big factor. And I think that's going to be the same thing that needs to happen this week against the 49ers. And I mean, stopping from more angles from McCaffrey, slowing down Debo, putting the ball in Purdy's hands to see if they get a chance like that. I'm hoping that Brock Purdy can handle that. But, obviously with him being his second year, I'm not dumb to this, but him being his second year, this is a big stage. You put that D on him, might be a lot of pressure. Who knows? So I'm going with Kansas City defense. And on the opposite side, in order for the 49ers, I think the X factor for the 49ers, I'm going to go with the run game, the defensive run game. The linebackers, the middle linebackers, Warner and Greenlaw. And then even just the defense in general. I mean, I saw some, I was looking at ESPN and just watching some of these plays that they was running, you see, so there's 2 parts to this. There's a part where, which is good, is that once they hand off the ball, like for instance, you hand off the ball to Gibbs against Detroit, everybody is taught like, attack the ball, go for the ball. But when Gibbs doesn't have the ball and it's a play action, now everybody is on one side of the field when somebody is open on the opposite side of the field. Now we just got a big play right there, or somebody is scoring. And so, yes, it's good, attack the ball, but also attack the ball knowing where the ball is. Don't just assume that the ball is being handed off or whatever the case may be. But if the 49ers fall for the trickery that I'm sure the Kansas City Chiefs will have under Mahomes, it's going to be a long day for the 49ers. And I'm saying I'm just going to have that my stomach is going to be turning at halftime looking at the score if they do give into that. It really is. So I'm hoping that, the Niners D specifically the linebackers and the outside tackles and defensive tackles and Chase and Bosa can just get in there and slow Patrick down, slow Kelsey down, slow Pacheco down, and give Purdy a chance to actually lead us down. So those are my two X factors right now. And Super Bowl pick and score, Joey. Who do you know what? Do you want me to go first?
Yeah, you should probably go.
Okay, I'll go first. So I mean, I'm not gonna. There's no way that I'm. You know who I got already, right? I'm picking my boys to win this. Now I am picking a really tight game. I'm going 27-24. Jake Moody field goal to win the game. Again, I see us, it's a tight game, good game throughout. Brock Purdy leading it down. 3 seconds on the clock. Jake Moody right down the middle. Celebration, crazy ending. Great game. I know that's especially we talking about Purdy, but Moody being, a rookie himself, and this is a big pressure. But I'm going with my boys. I'm going with the San Francisco 49ers as the Super Bowl champions, 27-24.
Okay.
Tread lightly, brother.
Yeah, I mean, okay, I'll try and make this quick and painless. I'm gonna go with the Chiefs.
It's quick and painless.
Again, I know I said this multiple times. How do you pick against Patrick and that team? And not just that, they've been here before. And that's another big factor is not just Purdy, but this is the first time Christian will be, McCaffrey will be in the big game. Patrick knows what he's doing. Granted, kudos to Brock Purdy. He kept his composure during the NFC Championship game. And that's my other point is the past two games while the 49ers, they did what they needed to do and they came back and won.
Mm-hmm.
There was a certain aspect of the other team, specifically the other coach, overthinking it and shooting themselves in the foot to a certain extent. I don't see Andy Reid doing that, right? Andy Reid has been here before. He trusts himself. He trusts his team. And that's going to be, if I had to pick another X factor, that would be the other X factor is, he knows how to get his team to believe. I mean, they did it 4 years ago when they were playing this Niners team. I know it's not the exact same team, but they were down, 21-10, and ended up winning 31-21. Kansas City just finds a way to a certain extent, unless Tom Brady is on the other side. So I got to go with Kansas City, and I think Kansas City wins 28-24. So,
Joey, friendship. I don't know if you know the definition of friendship.
I don't know the definition.
The definition is when your friend is a 49ers fan, you go with the 49ers too. It literally says that in Webster's dictionary, okay? Just let you know. But okay, well there you guys got it. We have it set in stone. Our picks and X factors for the Super Bowl. So last segment of the day. You know how we like to end this. Usually it's Joey's rant. But today, Joey has taken a back seat to give it to me. So welcome to Carlos's rant. So as I was watching ESPN as I do every morning and watching one of my favorite shows, Get Up with Greeny and the team that he always have, this whole week, what I've noticed is that there's been a lot of talk about this thing that's happening tomorrow called the Super Bowl, like we've been talking about ourselves. There hasn't been much talk about the victorious trophy winners, the ones that's going to raise that Lombardi trophy, the 49ers. It's all about the Kansas City Chiefs. Little do they know, Joey, that the 49ers will pull this off, as I just mentioned a few minutes ago. But why is this a rant? Well, because at the end of the season, it was all about the 49ers. Nothing about the Kansas City Chiefs. Yeah. The Kansas City Chiefs was playing bad. Yeah. The 49ers was playing good. You know, we go into here, everybody's just like, oh, it's going to be Ravens, Niners. It's going to be this and Niners and blah, blah, blah. And then all of a sudden, the Kansas City Chiefs started playing like the Kansas City Chiefs. Now everybody is up in arms. How can we pick against Mahomes? Didn't somebody just say that a few seconds ago? Do you work for Get Up, Joey? I'm just curious, huh?
I wish.
Oh, you wouldn't even be with me right now.
Kidding me? That would be awesome.
But this rant is for all the doubters. The doubters on Get Up, the doubters on Fox Sports, the doubters all over the world who don't believe that the 49ers can pull this off. But you know what? Fear not, ladies and gentlemen. When we come back to film our next episode, I will have the biggest smile. I won't even mention anything. I'll just come on here and say, thank you, haters. Thank you for those that didn't believe in us. Thank you, doubters. Thank you for doubting the greatness that you see in front of your eyes. Thank you for not believing in us. Because you know what? What you're doing? You're adding more fuel to the fire. And you know what? This is supposed to be a rant where people yell, but I'm gonna be calm. I'm gonna be calm and nice about this. I just want to be humble. You know, I wanna just enjoy what's going on right now. I'm soaking in all this hatred that's coming in for my boys. Just want to say that you guys still hold the special place in my heart. Get Up. Everybody that's on that show, you know, Jeff Saturday, Ryan Clark, who was the special guest on my last rant, Dominique Foxworthy, you know, all Bart Scott, you know, I'm telling you, I love these guys. I think they do a great show, but they disappointed me this week. And so, Greenie, I don't know if you ever hear this. I don't know if you even listen to it. Maybe when I post this on social media, I at him, at Mike Greenberg, just so you can see this, Mike. And then I even do at Get Up. So you, whoever's in charge of your social media, can see this and slide this to you. Maybe play a little click of this and then shout us out, you know, at Socratic Sports if you are. But that is, Joey, that is my rant for the day. Is the doubters doubting that the 49ers can pull this off tomorrow because of the greatness of Patrick Mahomes. He is great. I'm not going to lie. Great. I'm a huge fan of Pat. I think he does amazing things. I think the Chiefs are great. I think Andy Reid is a great coach. I think they have a great tight end. They have the album of the year for the Grammys on their side, and Taylor Swift. You know, they have it all. They are. I mean, she's probably on a plane right now, headed from Asia back home to go see her baby play. You know, they are ready for this. They are ready to see this Super Bowl, but they're not ready for a victory because the 49ers will pull this off, Joey. Mark my words, Joey. The 49ers shall be victorious. So thank you, doubters. Thank you very much. And that is the end of my rant. If I had a mic, I do have a mic drop. I gotta lift it back up because it's expensive.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's a really nice mic.
Yeah, I just laid it down gently. All right, so that was my rant. Thank you for allowing me to rant this week,
Hey,
Joey. I
that
appreciate
was
it. man.
fantastic.
Thank
A
you.
little
brother. I
part of it
appreciate
kind of felt like a backhanded advertisement for our podcast.
Good. Hopefully it works.
Which I hope
Hopefully
works.
Hopefully
And
it
hopefully
works.
Get Up finds us. And yeah.
Seriously. Well, that was our season finale, Joey. Can we get one more applause for making it through another season of Socratic Sports? Love it.
This is going to go on for a long time. It's still going.
And that was actually a live audience. We are recording this in a studio. No, we're not. But
I don't feel comfortable lying.
So yeah, this was a season 2 wrap up. We will be back with season 3 on March 2nd. Where we're gonna have, where we got March Madness coming up, Joey, going towards the Masters. We're gonna talk about different sports that we love. It's gonna be we have a trailer dropping. This is gonna be an amazing season 3, guys. This was only the beginning of the greatness that we're gonna have. We're gonna kick it off with episode 25. Super stoked, super excited about this, Joey. As always, thank you for your knowledge, for everything you do for us, man. It's been a ride, man. And anything you want to say to our yeah, you say you don't want to lie. Anything you want to say to the 10 people that are listening to us?
We appreciate you.
And in my mind, to the thousands that are listening to us, thank you guys for listening. You can find us on YouTube, Socratic Sports. You can find us on Instagram, Socratic Sports 22. You can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you can find streaming services to listen to us. Please listen. And remember to tell a friend, to tell a friend, to tell a friend. Joey, you want to kick us out for that last dance of season 2, please.
I don't know what happened.
Peace.